I'd like to formally announce also, kasi dito po, no, nandito na sa articles namin, pero Saldico mentioned 25 billion pesos na siya ang nagdala. Pagkatapos nagkaroon ng investigasyon kailan lang sa Blue Ribbon Committee, in-establish ang tamarin na drop-off point. Ang sabi ni Saldico, nag-deliver ako ng 800 million kay Jojo Cadiz at one time at 200 million kay Yusek Jojo Cadiz sa tamarin para dalhin kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Kagabi ho, nagpagbigay ng mensahe si Congressman Saldico. Ang sabi ni Congressman Saldico, kung papayagan ako doon sa itinal ninyong impeachment to become a state witness, kahit na sa Zoom, kasi ginagawa naman po natin yan under suspended rules, ay tatayo siya na witness dito sa grupo na nag-file ng impeachment case. So, salamat po. Ngayon, dadalhin ko naman yung topic on the economic sabotage. So, yung graft and corruption, tapos na po tayo. Economic sabotage doon po sa sugar and energy to be discussed by Congressman Jing Paras.
Before I go to that, mayroon po muna akong may nakaligtaan. Yung sinasabi nila, si Vice President gumasto, nilustay yung pera na 125 million galing sa pondo na for confidential funds. Pero magkakaroon kaya nagpagastos si Vice President kung hindi binigay ni Marcos yung pera galing sa contingent fund. So, isa sa mga tinatakel namin na culpable violation of the Constitution is the violation of Marcos for releasing from his contingent fund 125 million plus 70 million for other expenses, pero yung 125 for confidential fund. Sinasabi ng mga experts, including former Senate President Drilon, that is unconstitutional. You can refer to the interview of Drilon and ito. And sino ito sa ABS? No, the other one. Karen Davila. Sinasabi ni Drilon, what Marcos did was unconstitutional kasi naglipat siya ng item, ng pera from the contingent to confidential fund. Wala namang item in the general appropriation. Bawal po lang mag-ubed according to the Constitution. It's a violation of law to transfer fund when there is no item. You cannot augment unless savings. Ang contingent fund is not savings. Only savings can be used by the President. So, Marcos has violated. Bago nyo sampahan si Sara, si Marcos muna ang sinampahan namin. Kasi siya ang source ng pera na ginastos ni Sara Duterte. Second, graft and corruption. Ba't hindi itong graft and corruption ni Marcos? Ito mismo. It was heard in Congress, si Undersecretary Pangiliban was caught saying that it was Marcos who ordered the importation of 440,000 tons of sugar. Without a sugar order, sabi niya, let's do it ourselves. Inamin po ito ni Pangiliban. Kung tinanong siya ni Risa, dinidiktik siya ni Risa Ontiveros, ni Pimentel, at ni Tolentino. Nandito po ang conversation nila. Ito po, ang exchanges nila. Sabi ni Pangiliban, ang sabi ni Presidente, let's do it ourselves. Anong ibig sabihin na let's do it ourselves? Sila. Walang sinusunod na regulasyon. Ang regulasyon kasi, bago ka kapag-import, you have a sugar order. Ito. There was no bidding. Hindi, ang matindi nito, pumili lang siya ng tatlo sa 30 o 40. Pinili niya yung tatlo, All Asian Counter Trade, si Iscaler, kaibigan niya yan, yung Sokdem Philippines na kinwestiyon ni Risa na walang pera, at itong Edison Lee, marketing. Bakit pipiliin mo lang yung tatlo? When there are more qualified. Nakipag-meeting pa si Marcos, mayroon tayong picture na nag-meeting si Marcos with his only 3 traders in Malacanang. So, this is graft and corruption, mga kababayan, giving undue advantage, unwarranted benefits to these 3 traders over others who are more qualified. Pinili niya without the benefit of the bidding, at the same time, walang sugar order. Tapos, pag dumating na yung kargamento, saka na lang nila nilalakad yung sugar order after the fact. So he has already committed the crime of graft and corruption. And also betrayal of public trust because he has reneged on his duty under his oath of office. That he will execute the laws faithfully. Hindi niya in-execute kasi siya mismo ang gumawa ng violation of law. Ito naman, to favor his campaign crony, nung binili ni Rason yung share, una-una binenta yung, alam niyo itong Malampaya, ang laking pera na kinikita ng gobyerno. Maski 5% lang ang share natin. Kasi 45% is owned by Chevron, 45% is owned by Shell. I should know this because naging chairman ako dyan sa kumpanya niyan, yung PNOCEC. So, mag-i-expire yung service contract 38 ng 2024. Dapat sana, para kumita ang gobyerno, nirepeat yun. Nahanap ng bagong bidder para mapasok ang pera. Ang ginawa nila, binigay kay Rason yung share. Binigay kay Modena yung Chevron. Pero ngayon, si Rason na lahat ang may-ari. Pero ang masama at masakla, walang bidding, wala lahat, in-extend for another 15 years, mga kababayan, yung kontrata unilaterally by Marcos. Can you imagine? So, that is giving unwarranted benefits to Rason, yung kanyang pride company. So, this is graft and corruption in the real sense. Kasi wala namang sinasabi ng karamihan that could have benefited the people kung ang gobyerno na mismo ang nag-take over. Kasi pag expire ng 2024, mayroon tayong right of first refusal over Malampaya. Pero we squander that power of the government at binigay natin sa crony. And that is also cronyism. Lastly, ito po, narinig naman siguro ninyo sa mga media, masyadong hot na hot si Toby Chanco. Sabi niya, nag-meeting kami ni Marcos, ni Romualdez, ako. I was surprised, bakit nagkasama ko, dapat silang dalawa. Sinabi daw ni Marcos, Martin, sobra-sobra na ba yung maraming bahay sa Forbes? Sobra-sobra na ba yung maraming Ferrari at mga airplanes? Sobra na ba ang kain mo ng kabyar? Ito sabi niya, kayo ni Salde ko, sobra na kayo, kinukuha niyo lahat ng pondo. Alam mo Martin, wala akong natatanggap dyan. Diyan ko atin. Okay. So, presuming na wala siyang natatanggap, pero hindi tayo naniniwala, November 2024 ba niya sinasabi ito? Alam niya na nangurakot si Martin, nangurakot si Saldi. Wala siyang sinasabi. Wala siyang ginawa. Ikaw, Presidente, you have the duty to report to the NBI, to the Department of Justice, iimbestiga at ipatanggal niya ito. Ha? Bakit naghintay pa siya doon sa zona niya? At sa mahiya kayo. Eh, dapat hindi na siya nagsabi mahiya kasi pinadekwat na sana niya si Martin. Pinadekwat na sana niya si Martin at saka si Sandy. So, that is obstruction of justice. He did not report a crime committed when he knew all along that Martin and Sandy were committing a crime. And this is also a betrayal of public trust. He reneged on his duty under the Constitution, yung kanyang oath of office, that he should execute the laws here. He hid the law. Tapos, recently, nagpa-interview siya. Tinanong siya, Sir, ano na bang sitwasyon kay Martin Romualdez? No, I didn't see any basis against Martin Romualdez. Eh, nagsisinungaling na naman siya. Wala daw finding sa isip. Eh, alam na nga niya. Pinagalitan na nga niya dahil nagnakaw. Tapos ngayon sasabihin mo, kasinungalingan. So, that's betrayal of public trust, mga kababayan.
Okay, one of the highlights of the impeachment complaint is also the incident with former President Rodrigo Duterte. And to discuss that is our former General and Lawyer Attorney Garcia, Virgilio Garcia.
Salamat po. Tapusin ko lang yung sinasabi ko kanina tungkol sa grave national security concern yung mental health ng Pangulo. Kasi kailangan tayong makasiguro na matino ang pag-iisip ng ating Pangulo at siya ay gagawa ng tamang desisyon sa panahon ng pangangailangan. That he is going to make the right decision, that he will stay there and decide that our all, sa kabutihan natin lahat. Okay. Yung pangyayari sa na-assign sa akin na i-discuss is yung nangyari sa airport. No? Una muna, paalam natin sa mga kababayan natin, mga OFW, yung pagka kayo ay nangangailangan ng tulong sa ating gobyerno habang kayo ay nasa ibang bansa, yan po ay hindi kusang loob, hindi kumbaga parang papugi nila na kayo ay tinutulungan nila at tatanawin ninyong utang na loob. Yan po ay obligasyon ng ating gobyerno na kayo ay tulungan. At dito po sa pagkakataong ito, the reverse happened. Ano po, yung nasa labas, tutulungan ka. Mapansinin nyo, yung mga nakukulong, yung mga pupubago-pagutan ng ulo, we make representations with the government because our government must be able to protect our citizens in other countries para yung sila naman ay maproteksyonan natin sa kapangyarihan ng gobyerno kung saan silang bansa nandoon. Okay, so that is the prime duty of government is to serve and protect the people. We will give flesh to this constitutional provision dun sa nangyari no March 11, 2025. Oh, sa airport. No? So, it doesn't matter, hindi personality driven, kundi ito ay obligasyon ng ating gobyerno na kailangang gampanan. Kaya sinasabi namin, sinasakdal namin ang Pangulo ng Pilipinas, si Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., ng paglabag sa saligang batas, ng pagbigo sa tiwala ng taong bayan, at ang paglabag sa batas. Ayan. Noong March 11, ma'am?
Opo.
March 11, 2025. Sa airport, inaresto si Pangulong Duterte. Hindi siya napagbigyan na matulungan ng kanyang abogado. He was denied legal representation. Yung isang abogado nga niya, hinangkap pa, inalis doon. You know? So, it's all in the complaint, yung narration of facts. No? But now, we all witness this, so I don't have to parang sabihin. Ang gusto ko lang klaruhin is ang sinasabi nila, ang basihan nila sa pag-aresto is yung sinasabi nilang ICC warrant of arrest. Okay. Under the law, a foreign judgment is a piece of paper, nothing more than just a piece of paper.
Saka may ka.
It's just a mere scrap of paper. It's nothing, it's worthless unless this is recognized by our local court. Kaya ang sinasabi, dapat, kung totoong merong warrant of arrest, dapat dinaan muna sa korte. regional trial court po ang mayroong jurisdiction to hear this kind of complaints. Dapat dinala siya sa korte at doon sa pinaharap para patunayan, unang-una, na yung ICC warrant, assuming that it was issued, it was issued by a competent court. Competent hindi lang korte, it has to be issued by a competent court, a court that has jurisdiction to issue the warrant. Alright? Ngayon yung ating korte, pagkatapos na dinig-dinig ganyan, siya yung mag-i-issue ng warrant of arrest. Yung warrant of arrest na korte natin ang gagamitin ng mga aaresto para siya ay arestuhin dahil yon ang may visa. Hindi yung warrant of arrest ng kahit sino. Alright? We violated all this. Lahat ng batas. So we have an enumeration of the laws violated by them. Unang-una, yung Republic Act 7438. Yan yung karapatan ng kung sino mang arestado, detinado, o undergoing custodial at investigation at all times, yun ang sabi ng batas, you must be assisted by counsel. Ito yung other high crimes. No? So first of all, na-violate niya yun, it was written inhumanely, nandito po lahat. Meron akong kopya, bigyan ko kayo mamaya. Violated yung alam po ninyo meron yung ating Bill of Rights, yung number 1, hindi yung number 1 just because yun yung una nilang naisip, but because that is the fundamental, most basic right of every Filipino is yung no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And nor shall anybody be denied the equal protection of law. Kaya po yung number 1, yan yung talagang number 1. Hindi yan yung aksidente lamang na nailagay na number 1. This was violated. Yung kanyang liberty. Hindi siya nabigyan ng due process. No? Ngayon, bakit sinasabi natin si Presidente ang may kasalanan ng lahat ng ito kahit wala siya doon sa airport? Because he is the head of the executive department and under Article 7, Section 1, he is the head of the executive department and he is the one in charge of making sure that all laws are executed properly. Alright? So, ngayon yung ang masaklap dito, ang masaklap dito hindi yung Pilipinong nasa labas na hindi mo tinulungan. Ang masaklap dito, yung Pilipinong nasa Pilipinas, pinadala mo sa ibang bansa kahit wala kang obligasyong ipadala yung taong yun sa ibang bansa at pagkatapos iniwanan mo doon without any aid or assistance from the Philippine government. That makes matters worse. This, to us, is culpable violation of the Constitution. This, to us, is betrayal of public trust. And the crimes that they committed are all high crimes. Punishable by death yung kidnapping, actually kidnapping lang tinatawag para maunawaan ng lahat. Pero actually, the crime committed is serious illegal detention, which is punishable by reclusion perpetua to death. And that makes it a very high crime, similar to treason, bribery, plunder. Yeah. So, malupit po yung mga crimes committed. Ito pa, para kay General Torre. General Torre, you violated Republic Act 7438. Ang penalty po doon, mababa lang ang multa, 6,000 pesos lang. Pero may imprisonment, not less than 8 years, not more than 10 years. Pero ang pinakamaganda po, mayroong naka-attach na penalty na perpetual absolute disqualification from holding public office. In other words, once you are convicted, wala ka na pong retirement pay. Salamat po.
Thank you, General Garcia. Kong G, would you like to add? Si Atty. Manny na.
Ito. Ang matindi doon is lahat itong gumagalaw. Gilbert, John B. Cremulya, Anyo, Ibo, Bilisto, lahat sila ni John B. Cremulya that they planned it. So it's a conspiracy to put the Duterte under rendition. And the fact is, they have lied they have lied to the public. Sinasabi ni Marcos, meron na tayong Interpol. Pero wala naman pala, red notice, wala naman pala red notice. Kasi daw, the red notice, we are now obligated to the Interpol. Pero he disregarded what he has been saying that the ICC has no jurisdiction. The ICC has no sovereignty over our country. The ICC has no jurisdiction. So he contradicted that which he has been pronouncing for so long by just a mere, we cannot refuse the Interpol. We are so tapos hindi naman pala red notice kundi diffusion lang. Wala nga eh. It's not even approved by the head of the Interpol yung ginawa nila. So all this mananagot si Marcos Jr. dito sa lahat ng mga kabulastugan na ginagawa nila.
Okay. Dagdagan ko lang. Walang jurisdiction yung ICC. You know why? Because March 17, 2018, March 17, 2018, nag-withdraw na tayo ng ating membership sa ICC. So yung residual 1 year nila is March 16, 2019. So up to that time, wala nang jurisdiction ang ICC sa atin. We have evidence to prove that the first time the ICC investigators came to the Philippines was in 2022. And we have evidence...
22? 23.
23 yata.
2023.
23. And we have evidence kung sino ang nagbigay ng suporta sa Visa here. Anyway, it's in the complaint, supported by no less than the speaker, former speaker, Martin Romualdez. Saudi ko. Andiyan naman si Saudi. Pwede niyang aminin o hindi. Sa kanya yan. And Sunny Trillanes.
Thank you, General Garcia. Attorney Manny, would you like to add?
Under ground number 6 of our impeachment complaint of the people of the Philippines, I'd like to state the respondent Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. culpably violated Section 2, Section 1, and Section 6, Article 3, the Bill of Rights, respectively, of the Constitution, in causing the arrest, detention, and rendition of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte to the International Criminal Court in The Hague, Netherlands. These are fundamental rights guaranteed to every citizen of the Philippines, regardless of positions. And these were all violated. And if you violate the fundamental rights of Filipinos, you commit the crimes under the revised penal code. These are crimes against the fundamental rights under the revised penal code. The President is the chief implementer of the revised penal code. And yet he masterminded the extrajudicial rendition of former President Duterte. Kaya hindi basta-basta yung sinasabi niya na wala siyang kinalaman. Kasi siya nag-implement ng batas. Hindi ito about politics. He disregarded the right of a Filipino and put in danger and bargain away our national sovereignty. Nasa aming complaint din yan. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So, to summarize, you would like to say, to summarize all the points, yung gist na we mentioned na yung case na, yung articles that we will file, our renowned lawyer, Attorney Ferdy Topacio, and also to give the closing points on the articles of impeachment. Attorney Ferdy.
Magandang tanghali po mga magulang at mga kapatid. Hindi ko na po uulitin yung mga points. I think my fellow complainants have made everything so clear. Ang nais ko lamang pong sabihin, very briefly, ay the common thread that runs through all of these accusations is the policy of the present administration of bend the law. Why am I saying this? Some of this may not be included in the complaint, but in law, sa batas po, previous acts constitute pattern that will prove the allegations being made. Ano yung policy nitong administrasyon na to na bend the law, na napapunta kaya merong appropriated allocations na sinabi na ng Korte Suprema in the 2013 case of Belica na unconstitutional. Ito po, tingnan nyo kung paano binibend the law. Kaya dapat pong matigil na to by removing the president. Nakasasabi lang po itong mga kasama ko, yung kay Presidente Duterte. Ito pa, kung napansin nyo, even before that, for the first time in legislative history, mayroong committee hearing sa House wherein the council was physically prevented from advising his client. Ako yun, dun sa Quadcom. Again, for the first time in our country's history, yung rules regarding the appointments and consideration of the JBC, in-ignore. Anong ginawa? Pagka may kaso, di ba, hindi pwedeng consider ng JBC. Anong ginawa? Just for the case of Remulla, Boying Remulla, tinanggal yung rule na automatically docketed just to say na walang kasong docketed against Ombudsman Remulla para ma-appoint siya. Break the law na yun, hindi na bend the law yun. Ano ba? Yung abuse ng administrasyon ng hearsay, nililin lang po ang taong bayan. Ang hearsay po, sabi sa akin ni Jing, babaero daw, si General Garcia. Yun ang hearsay. Pinotektahan ko na nga si Jing. Umalag pa kayo, pambira naman kayo. Pero pag nakita ko mismo na ng bababae si Jing, ayan, binalik ko na kay Jing, hindi po hearsay yun. Kaya yung sinasabi ng hearsay si Saldico, hindi po. That is eyewitness testimony. Matibay po yun. Yung sinasabi nilang si Leviste ay dapat i-authenticate yung Cabral files, mali po yun. Mali yung ginagawa ni Ping Lacson. By the mere fact that a person was placed under oath in the BRC hearing, at sinabi niya, nakuha niya yung kay Cabral, siya mismo. That is proper authentication under the law. Pero sasabihin nila hindi. By the mere fact that a member of the family ay sinabing out of her own personal knowledge na gumagamit ng droga ang Pangulo, hindi po hearsay yun. Wala pong hearsay doon. Si Gutesa, the mere fact na sinabi niya nag-deliver siya ng pera kay Martin Romualdez, hindi po hearsay yun. Eyewitness account po yun. Bendalo na naman. Yung bribery ng magkapatid na Remulla, inalokay 1 bilyon, may inaresto mo yun. Attempted bribery yun. That is a crime. Anong ginawa nila? Pumunta sila sa media, sinabi nila, oy, may nag-attempt na mag-bribe sa akin, ayaw naman sabihin kung sino. They were sworn to uphold the laws and faithfully execute the same. Bakit hindi nila sinunod yung batas? Yung restitution na sinasabi nilang dapat mag-restitution. Ito, very tricky to. I hope you will give me 5 minutes, Congressman. Alam niyo kung bakit tumututol po kami sa restitution? Ikwento ko po sa inyo. Yun pong restitution, unang-una, wala po yun sa witness protection law. Pangalawa, yung restitution po, very tricky yun kung igagawin mo yung kondisyon for inclusion in witness protection. Bakit? Ako, nagnakaw ako ng 1 bilyon. Sabihin ko sa DOJ, boss, babalik ako ng 400 million. Iyo yung 200. May 400 million ba ako? Witness protection, state witness, wala na akong criminal liability. Absuelto na ako. Ngayon, sinasabi ni Fadulyon, pwede daw mag-agree ang DOJ sa restitution kung anong amount? Hindi po pwede. Why? Allowing a person who stole from government to keep part of the loot is a contract that is contrary to public policy and therefore null and void. Hindi po ako nagsabi niyan. Yan ay nasa civil code. Look it up. Kaya po, in order to recover ill-gotten wealth, yung sinasabi ni Boying na pagtatawa na naman tayo yan. Hindi natin ma-recover. Binigyan agad natin ng immunity. Hindi po. Mali po si Boying dyan. Meron pong provision for civil forfeiture of ill-gotten wealth. Paano po? Ang Office of the Solicitor General ang magpa-file sa korte. Bakit po sa korte? Sapagkat hindi mo basta pwedeng sabihin, hindi pwedeng sabihin ng DOJ, ang inakaw mo ay 500 million, 600 million. Kukunin namin. That is deprivation of property without due process of law. Who determines kung magkano ninakaw? Ang korte. Kaya sasabihin nila, mahirap sa korte. Hindi po mahirap. Una-una, aside from the fact that that is the process provided for by law, kapag civil forfeiture po, there are two presumptions that are in favor of government. Number one, the presumption that all assets over and above the legitimate income of a public official is presumed ill-gotten. Siya ang magpatunay na hindi ill-gotten. Number two, since it is a civil suit, it is civil in nature. Preponderance of evidence lamang ang kailangan. Hindi proof beyond reasonable doubt. Kahit ma-absuelto yung tao, pwede pa rin kunin. Because it proceeds independently of any criminal action for graft, plunder, malversation, etc. against the erring official. Kaya po sa korte, ang mangyayari pag sinali mo yung restitution sa pasok sa witness protection, that is fraught with the danger of graft and corruption. Magkakatawaran yan. Kaya hindi po nilagay yung provision na yan sa witness protection. Kita nyo na. Pagkatapos, dinedefensa nila. Bakit? Gusto nilang, they want a piece of the action. O, di ba? Kitang-kita nyo eh. Kung bakit, binibentalo na naman yan. O, doon sa impeachment, bentalo na naman, kahapon lang. O, can you imagine? Sinabi na sa Section 3, Rule 2 ng Rules on Impeachment, ang Office of the SecGen. The SecGen is not the Office of the SecGen. The SecGen does not exercise all the powers. The SecGen does not bring the powers of the Office of the SecGen with him or her when they go abroad. At fundamental po with any office, any office in government, kapag umaalis yung hepe, may OIC. Bakit ayaw tanggapin ni Atty. Momoy? Salonga. Momoy ba? Hindi, Moy, di ba? Haifa? Okay, whatever. Hindi mo nakakuha yung, kasi namumutla kahapon kaya medyo nanginginig Okay, anyway. Tayo ba pa nag-file tayo sa hukuman ng kaso, kailangan nandun yung press? Kapag nag-file ba tayo ng appeal sa Office of the President, dapat nandun yung Pangulo sa Malacanang? Bakit ito? Kapag nag-file ka, kailangan nandun yung Secretary General? Wow naman, di ba? Ganun siya makapangyarihan. So, ito po ang pattern na gusto namin i-break. You cannot ignore the law. You cannot bend the law. You cannot keep violating the Constitution and the laws without facing the consequences. Because as President, lahat po yan, ikaw ang may command responsibility. Sabi nga ni Roosevelt, di ba? Si President Roosevelt, meron siyang nakalagay doon sa kanyang desk, the buck stops here. Kahit ano mangyari, ako yan. Kung may credit siya yon. Kung may kasalanan, siya rin yun because he is the head of the executive department. And when he made an oath nung siya'y nahalal, sinabi niya, he made a solemn oath that it will be his duty to protect the Constitution and faithfully execute all laws. Kaya po meron ito na petition ito because hindi niya ina-execute ang law, ina-execute niya ang lahat ng tao na sumusunod sa batas. He's not only bending the law, he is breaking the law. Salamat po.
Thank you so much, Attorney Topacio. We now open the floor to questions from our friends in the media. Sino may katanungan? Yes, please. Hi.
Yan, F25.